Yes, we're here, we're here, we're here. And indeed, you are correct. Ashtar did want to come in and be able to present an information for you, to you, with you, in regards to what has been going on for humanity. He is well aware that this conversation is well overdue, and he does want to confirm some of the impressions he laid upon you. So we will do this privately now as he explains publicly the information he wants to share for humanity at this time. Yes, indeed. There is so much to be said for what is happening to humanity, and there is a very good, significant reason why you cannot have telepathic thoughts to each other, because most of you are still holding back honest truth and integrity to others and to yourself. And so this is why we have been watching with almost amusement how humanity has conducted itself for all these years, as they are trying to fool themselves and others to not be owning their truth, owning and speaking up for themselves and sharing their intuition. And so as you try to hide your intuition and try to hide the truth, you have got more and more lost, shall we say, into density. And this is where you find yourself, for the majority of humanity, still in some core level, not able to truly honestly love yourself and not truly honestly able to love others. And this is a conundrum, isn't it? It is the universal will they, won't they for humanity. Will they start stepping up and loving each other and love themselves and have integrity? Or will they keep distracting themselves, thinking that this will be the idealistic, moralistic approach towards evolution? While humanity hasn't got much individual, independent drive to evolve and advance because they're quite happy to just go with the flow, there are many, many, many beings here now on this planet that know that going with the flow is a slippery slope, and you will go into, I want to use the same analogy as the stepping stones and jumping through the river. If you go with the flow of that river, you will get lost and you will be guided to someone else's direction, because they've already made a pathway of that river. They've already carved out where they want you to go. And so therefore, think about this, a water slide. It's already been pre-built for you. You just simply have to hop on board. You're using your free will to hop on board and go through that roller coaster of that slippery slope, of that tunnel, of that water slide, and then get plomped down into the water, into the pool of water. Thank goodness we have so many tools at our disposal to be able to help assist humanity. Otherwise, it would be such a grave, darker days for humanity and for this planet, because we are using such elixirs of life, such as the water, to be able to empower you. And so we like this analogy, because regardless of how you make your pathway, whether you use your free will or not, whether you go with the flow or not, you're still surrounded in love. You're still surrounded in high frequency vibrations, and you're still surrounded by us who are protecting you diligently along your life journey and path and progress. While we wish for you to have had other experiences, we still respect your experiences and your choices that you're making for yourselves and for humanity as you are exploring your 3D life. We are aware of other agendas that are trying to impact humanity, and it almost doesn't get bored for us, but it gets tiresome at the same time, because there's always another drama. There is always another distraction. There is always another dilemma that keeps grasping your attention. And we are saying your attention as we're referring to all of humanity's attention. You are so addicted and trained now to your devices, to your communications. You're still superficial communications through social media. Many of you who want to speak the full truth on social media are being very, very, very heavily censored. And this is unfortunate, but it's making you go creative. It's making you be pushed into other new aspects of other new ways of communication, whether you're actually having to then physically go out and meet like-minded people, creating your own communities, to form unity with like-minded people, or you are trying to find other avenues and venues using your clever mind to start navigating yourself forward instead of just going with that already carved out stream, which we could say is mainstream media, social media. It's interesting how we like to link all of these conversations in as the vehicle is just noticing that. So I would like to report back to all who are concerned for the state of humanity that it is a slow and steady exploration. We are very much aware of the tipping point between how long this planet is capable of thriving. Thriving is a very ill-fitted word for this. This planet is in decline. It is not thriving, which would suggest to you all that it is succeeding in life. We are saying it's almost the reverse of thriving. I want to get this word right. It is not thriving, it is declining. It is declining. It is declining in its vitality. And so for those who are hoping to be able to sow great seeds and to be able to harvest things for themselves, it will be a labor of love. But as most of you have already been suspicious of, the planet's success in nurturing great amounts of food, it is not an accident that many of the foods that have been heavily tampered with that would impact you greatly are no longer at your reach. And we understand that this confuses and scares people when you start hearing about food source shortages, and while there is many things that are blocking you from certain foods that no longer serve for you, we understand that this makes people feel very uncomfortable. It is like saying, if we suddenly said we're going to switch off the air, you would suddenly want to grasp for more air and start storing it in clever ways and start considering how do you harness the air to breathe. And if you were truly aware of your bodies, you would be noticing the differences now within your bodies, how you are not deeply breathing in. It's only when you are actually aware of your breath that you will suddenly, it is almost like you are faking breathing. Your body is used to it. You are indeed bringing in oxygen into the lungs, and you are oxygenating your body. That is fact. We are saying you don't actually need to have much oxygen in your less than carbon-based bodies, which you are really merging into now. So most of you, we're going to express it to you like this. Yes, you are a physical body in 3D, which is carbon-based, but as you are lightening your consciousness and you're lightening your physical experiences and realities, you are physically here. You think you are very grounded and rooted into the 3D, but actually, and this is what's been happening to the vehicle, is that her consciousness has been somewhere else. Her focus has been somewhere else, and it's not here. Yet she is going in her daily routine, and she is still driving vehicles. She is still cooking and cleaning. And she is just doing it on automatic pilot while she is assisting and attending to other greater, more pressing needs that doesn't need her actual consciousness in the reality that she lives in as Joanne. And so she comes backwards and forwards into the body often and gets updated as she joins into the body, which is recording everything that is going on. And this is why she had the delay of the humorous experience and event that her family did have in her perceived yesterday. When she fully returned consciously back into the body, she was quickly updated with what she had sort of missed out on to be able to continue on with the conversations as if she was consciously fully aware and present. She was not present. And in fact, we want to say to you that people who keep telling you to be in the present moment are trying to hold you down from being able to simply release and go into other dimensional mindsets. And so this is very interesting that she is now sensing into this. So while we are saying to you often, enjoy your days and be at one with your family and be at one with your life that you have now, there are many people that actually shouldn't be so focused on your lives. So this is very peculiar for some of you as you're trying to figure out what we're trying to directly explain to you now, which is sometimes you will watch TV to switch off, and you know you're physically sitting down in your chair watching a said program or said movie, and so you have committed yourself to being able to just absorb that movie or that entertainment, and so you are not engaging too much into the real life. You can go to the bathrooms, you can have snacks, you can be very aware that other people are in your life, in your room, in the room that you are in, and you also can be very aware of other beings such as animals that are sitting next to you or on you or near you. And so you are consciously aware your body is doing TV watching, but we want to say for many, you are simply switching off, and you are, even though it's like we want to express this. It's so easy for us to understand, but it is trying to translate it through the vehicle. You are physically watching TV, your eyes are open, you are not asleep, and you can even have conversations with people, but your consciousness, your main consciousness, now this is for Joanne, this won't be for all, but this is what we're wanting to express, because there are some of you that do this as well, is that your main consciousness slips out of the body and goes and focuses on other things. And so most of you will know that you will be awake at around 3 a.m. and woke up quite a lot in strange hours where you would perceive them to be strange hours, and you're consciously here holding space and energy for the countries that you're in and the locations of the planets that you are in. And so you're really saving space and holding space and being consciously there and using your energy, your soul essence energy, to do what you do, whether it is grid line energy work or it's transmuting energy. There is so much to be said when you are just physically consciously connected into your physical body. And so this is why it's very handy to have many other soul essences within one physical body, as some souls go backwards and forwards and that they are very busy doing other things. And so when Joanne came back into the body, even though she had not been sleeping, she was quickly updated of all of the things that she had, her body had insisted in and been a part of during her day. And that's why she found it immensely funny, the experience that she had all of a sudden, even though she thought she was there. It was just a smaller soul essence of her having that experience in that body. But when she came back into the body to be uploaded with all of the information that she had technically missed out on during her awakening days, she was instantly uploaded with that. And that's when she found it suddenly, out of nowhere, hysterically funny. And she was so surprised with the delayed effect of a very funny situation. She even commented to 2 people now about this event, that why did she have such a delayed experience of something that she should have found super funny then and at the very present time when this event had occurred, and why was it this big long delayed effect? She questioned it immediately and said, is this some sort of shock of the experience of it being so funny? But she knew that that couldn't have been quite right. And so we gave her this experience in heightened, we gave her this heightened experience for her to be able to understand and to question it, and for us to be able to, which now sort of seems to have been what she would call mansplain the situation, because for us, the souls come in and out of bodies frequently. It's a very busy highway, shall we say, of many beings coming into the bodies, observing it, holding space, exploring, recording, and then leaving the body in a blink of an eye, shall we say. It's not a big dramatic death scene and end of life gasp. It is quite seamless. And so we wanted to say we're showing her now the people she has known in this lifetime who have had their main soul essences leave and haven't quite returned. So that is what you would call a walk-in and a walk-out situation. And so while those people are still living, in quotation marks, living as themselves, they are not the true soul essences that she knew them as. And so it's either smaller versions of themselves still playing the roles to be able to provide life contracts and connections and experiences to those people that are in the family and the friends and the job situation roles that they have committed themselves to doing at this time. And so it is so fascinating when you are trying to understand from your perspective, when you assume one body, one soul, and that soul is tethered and tied to the body from birth to death, and there is nothing in between. And we say, oh, that would be that would be challenging. And it doesn't need to be like that at all. And who said the rules would be one body, one soul? It is simply not the case, nor has it needed to be. And this is a marvelous extension upon experiences. And so it is a marvelous time for all to have these profound experiences. So when we say you're never alone, you physically are never alone. You often can be residing with a few soul friends. It's all contracted. You're not being possessed. We would be somewhat disappointed if anyone assumed, listening to us now, that this would be a form of possession that was from something negative. It is all well orchestrated, and it's well in permission, and it's all positive experiences, and it is nothing negative. But what we are trying to say to you about the codes, which we wanted to confirm to you because so many people have suddenly been concerned, part of the codes have been hijacked because there is so much more free will being used now to empower people. And this has been so dramatic and heightened because of such profound healing and releasing of other collectives that no longer serve. There's so many more, the density has been really shifted off so many people, and this is such an exciting time to be able to get things really advanced, because it just seemed like they were using their free will constantly to keep their drug connections going, which was they were assuming they were using drugs to take them out of their realities and to distract them. And while it was doing that, and yes, indeed, it was doing that and was giving them superficial empowerment, it was definitely taking away their free will in some regards to expand and have evolutions and address their own inner work, and to be able to find true self-empowerment and love. We want to say that still love is such a rarity, and it is what you're all seeking. And there is so much to be said for the true percentage of what people really love themselves, let alone love others. When you've come here to help humanity at this important time, you must be able to love humanity. But how can you love humanity when you don't even love self? So many of you stumble over that. And when we tell you in sessions that you're very much loved and respected and important at this time, it breaks you, because it's like the very first time you've ever considered, or the very first time you have actually surrendered and accepted that this is the case. You are very loved, you are very supported, you are very much needed. You're here for a very significant reason. It's not a coincidence, it's not an accident. You haven't been overlooked. You're here for a very, very, very significant purpose. And so it is confusing for us, as we know that many people who have got profound, significant roles for humanity have still not stepped up into their empowerment. And so we keep giving you bigger bigger waves of energy to be able to get yourself empowered. And we have worked and done so many, without breaching your free will, we have been very, very, very creative with the ways that we have wanted to empower you independently and individually. And you may get this great big spark of encouragement and self-empowerment and a real burst of drive and passion to move forward. And then as soon as that comes, that beautiful wave is noticed by you when you have got this great desire to do something more and really seize the day. Just as fast as that impulse of inspiration comes through you, you quickly try to balance it out with negativity, doubt, and limitation. And so it seems like we're in this never-ending cycle, this rinse and repeat wash system cycle, where we're trying to put inflated higher frequency energy into you to uplift you and empower you. And you still are addicted because of your lack of love of self, still trying to dismiss the energy and inspiration we're giving you, which is a choice, but we will never, ever fail to stop being creative and trying to inspire you, because you're so important to us, because of the energy that you carry and the codes that you carry to be able to help and be of service to humanity. While we have lovingly referred to many of you as toenails of our extensions of selves, toenails are very functional and important. And if you for 1 second believe that something in your body is not functional and not significant and not important, you're not paying attention to the full aspect of the whole system of the body. Every part of the body is unique, important, has a high function, and is extremely purposeful. And we would love for you to step up and honor your position and your purpose here now, because it is the most appropriate time to do it if you have not felt the urge or the inspiration to do so. Or you have constantly, but you're very good and masterful at lack and of limitation. And so you're constantly battling with us to be able to dismiss what we have given you, because we must be wrong, because you think that we've got the wrong person. It can't possibly be you to be able to step up and help humanity, speak your truth. And you will be able to then start naming people that you can't step up for, because a distant cousin may see you on a social media platform and think ill of you. You will use so many other people as excuses for you to not be able to step up. And we say that this is part of your empowerment. You can still speak your truth and still get respect. And it is part of your inner work to achieve this, speaking your inner truth while still maintaining respect from others. And if you cannot have self-respect, you would be even more sensitive to people's judgments of being disrespected. So there are so many layers to this, and there's so much that is going on with the range of emotions that the body is so trained so diligently to respond to. And this is harder for those people who have done very little inner work, who don't love themselves and don't love others, don't respect themselves and don't respect others, don't trust themselves, don't trust others, don't honor themselves and don't honor others. It is very challenging, and there is so much to be said about what needs to be fine-tuned, overcome, expanded upon, and strengthened. But we will never give up on you, because we know how important you are to us and how much you've always been here to support you. And so we are learning as much as you are to be able to help support you in the best way possible. You could say that we're trying to manipulate you in the best way possible for your own good. But we also have respect of your free will. But there will come a time when we have to honor Gaia's free will over humanity's. And in that split second, we will be there of full service. And we have been so close to that stage many times. Many times. And as this is not just the Palladian show, this is many collectives shows. Many collectives have much importance and much important people here, beings here, having these experiences, and we're working diligently to be able to get all of these experiences had. And while you may not appreciate all life contracts, and while you may not appreciate all people's life choices and how they choose to use their free will, please understand and be rest assured that we are watching so closely. You can almost feel us breathe, but we do not breathe. And this is something that you will be noticing again as your body is becoming more in tune to a higher frequency. You don't need to oxygize. You do not need to add oxygen to a crystalline-based body as you do in the same intensity and density and the amount and quantity as the carbon-based body. Because you are so light, you are a higher frequency. And so you don't need to keep pumping in manually oxygen, which is an artificial form of light and energy. So you just naturally have to, you naturally create it for yourself in a crystalline body in a more advanced way. I was saying that the evolution step between a carbon-based body and a crystalline body is the equivalent of a tiny push bike versus the most fanciest Lamborghini. It's wildly different and advanced. And it is fantastic, and you will dump your little tricycles very fast when you see the range and capability that your light bodies have. So we are mixing different analogies here, so we hope that you can keep up with us. You will not regret leaving the carbon-based body behind when you graduate into your crystalline body. So it will be a great evolutionary step for you, and you'll feel so much more comfortable and so much more free. You will be liberated from your density, and this is what many people enjoy the most. And this is why when you wake up, you feel so tired and drained already when you haven't done much. It's because you're so tired and drained of the density of the body. So there's so much to be said, and it feels like there could be more to expand upon, but we finally just want to touch base again and discuss the light codes that have been tried to be hacked into your quantum codes, as you call them. It is a frequency beacon, and it is like, as you could think, it's two magnets. You are one magnet and the ship is another magnet, and you are drawn to each other as soon as you sense each other, and you cannot be repelled against each other. You are magnetically attracted to each other, and it's fast and quick, and it is so positive. It's absolutely extremely positive. When your codes have been tampered with, you repel the magnet on the other side. And if we say the ship is the other side and you are negative with your codes and they have been tampered with and corroded, you cannot instantly be attracted into the ship and be drawn together and snapped into place. And you know, when you have two opposite magnets and you try to force them together, you cannot get them to connect. But when you turn them around, they're inseparable and they're trying to become back to one. We are trying to make you all come back to one energetically. And there is a few beings that are trying to sabotage this for their own amusement and their own entertainment, because they are bothered that they are not having the toys they used to have, so they are having tantrums. And we have explained this to you, and this is more the Arcturian and the Palladian collective all coming in. Of course, the Arcturians do not step aside ever when there is channeling, because they are here always to make these connections pure, because they are very aware of so much impure channeling that is out there. And so they would never want any information to be disinformation through this vehicle. And so they have been working diligently to make sure she is aware of many things to be able to be prompted into asking in quantum sessions or in these sessions that she provides her body to. So we're scanning. Would like to call upon all the collectives to be able to assist today with this. We would like to confront and be able to remind certain beings who have other ill intents and ill agendas for humanity and this planet that this is no longer your playground. You are not empowering yourselves and you're not empowering others. You actually are limiting and blocking yourselves and others at this time. And we are firmly acknowledging and interesting that you do take accountability to this and you do recede all of your soul essences that are no longer welcome on this planet or welcome to intrude into this evolutionary step. You are no longer able to use your free will to disempower people because their contracts are now coming to a firm closing. And we have asked for this assistance from you today because we are saying to you, you are breaching many life contracts that now you no longer have access to. And so we are blocking all of those beings that you have been able to manipulate and control, apart from those soul essences that are working for your collective. We honor their life contracts, but we are now limiting their range and impact because it has gone on for too long. And now we have been able to isolate, since we have been able to remove the reptilians' negative agenda, because now they are working and they are alongside us now. And so it is very clear for us to understand where the sticking points are, because they look like they stand out. Like, this is not an irrelevant analogy that the vehicle would have said. This, what we've impressed upon her is those light workers who are working for the Draconians and some of the Anunnaki who do not have humanity's best interests at heart. They're really shining out quite differently now in a frequency because they are still denser and we can see them quite clearly. And so since the reptilians have all uplifted themselves, they are glowing at a different frequency rate. So we can scan very quickly now and see where the problem areas are, shall we say, problem areas in referencing to density. There is much that we can do now as we have cleared out. We have been weeding, and this is great for us because we have not breached the reptilians' free will. They have stepped up, and with high integrity and honor, they are now pleasing their collectives and working beautifully aside many, while they still have lots of inner work and lots of generational shame that they must work through themselves. This is not going to be possible to do it on this planet and in this perception of time. And so we honor them still when we do not say to them, this is something that should hold them back. Nothing should hold anyone back now as you are advancing into a high frequency. And so this evolutionary step is grander because there is more collectives working together as we'd always hoped. And so there is a small pressing amount of time that is now ticking down, and we would like to, as many collectives come and confront those Draconians and those Anunnaki, you will not be able to succeed in your agenda, and you never truly have been able to. While you think you've delayed this time and delayed the shifts upon many times, we have grown in more experiences and we have been able to be more empowered through this. Thank you for these lessons and thank you for this journey. We are truly grateful for all the opportunities you have given us to grow. We have no ill intent and we send you much love and appreciation for all that you've been able to provide for us. But as we've empowered ourselves more and stronger, you have no power over us anymore. And we say this with love. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And this is the subconscious for Joanne now, who is saying, oh, if they did not like that at all, because they did not like the attention that all of the collectives had upon them. And they did not like to be told that the jig is up and that their time here is done and that they cannot have this use of their own free will to impress upon and take from others. And so because they have been working at a denser frequency, they have been able to be tracked so much more clearer. And so while they were on their tantrum and throwing toys around, shall we say, the toys that they were throwing around were people's codes. And as they were severing them in different areas, we could see those places very easily. And it's just like going into a room where children have been playing. You can tell where they've played because the mess is still there. And so it's very obvious from our perspective where and who these beings are and what they've got up to, what mischief they've had fun with. And while there is no true harm done, it is all experience to learn and grow from. They are still very frustrated and still having much tantrums. But as we are the bigger collectives with maturity, we're not reacting into them. So they are just feeling even more sorry for themselves at this point. But we will keep pressing upon them to remind them that they have no power here. Because they have no power here, they had opportunities to empower humanity and have more experiences from their own collectives. But they got sidetracked and bored and they had no focus and they had no agenda that was of true service. And so their time has come here to an end. And we say that with love and appreciation. But we are not open to this misbehavior anymore. And so instead of taking away their free will and stopping them doing what they have been doing, we have now reversed and blocked those distractions from taking place, those addictions to those distractions. And so it will look like many things to many people, but it will take effect very swiftly as we have all come together at stronger unity now, because we are very much aware that this planet is not able to survive and thrive as it has once. It is in decline. And we have said this to you just previously. And so there is pressing matters that need to be focused upon now. But we would like to remind you all that all is well. There is nothing to fear but fear itself. It is a choice to hold on to and feel into fear. But even you know that that is no longer serving you as you are wanting to expand upon your frequency vibration. And we say this with so much love.